If Trump is arrested, how do you think his supporters will react? Story 1. Bro, they could have a team of impartial jurors from 50 different countries decide on evidence and facts and decide he's guilty, and they would just say, LOL, they're just the deep state, he's innocent, it's all fake. You could show him a video of Trump pissing on a teenage girl and they'd R. Kelly treatment it. Asking, well, yeah, it looks a lot like him, but where's the evidence that it is him? Dumbass. Story 2. There are lots of snarky comments here from people that hate Trump. The real answer: vote for him again. You are going after a former POTUS for a misdemeanor charge. At the same time, you are letting criminals, with extensive criminal records, that commit violent crimes back into the street without bail. The party that claims to be logical, reasonable, and tolerant is in actuality the exact opposite. Story 3. I mean, terrorists act how terrorists act. They'll do the same things the FBI has warned us about. Right-wingers are a threat not to themselves, but to the entire U.S., and they'll do worse than January 6th, and I hope the National Guard is prepared to mow them down because we need them gone, and honestly, their only outlet is violence, and the only way to stop a violent fascist is to beat a violent fascist. Story 4. I expect his supporters to have a meltdown. The actual event would be underwhelming at best. Best case scenario, he throws himself to the floor like a toddler, kicking and screaming when asked to turn himself in. Trump feeling embarrassed is the worst punishment he'll receive. There want to be perp walk or pictures of Trump in handcuffs. Just a slow burn of lawyers, court hearings, and soapboxing on Twitter. Story 5. An arrest is no big deal, even more so for rich people. They won't stack agents outside, blow his door, and drag him out by his hair, in leg irons, dripping pepper spray. It'll be more like an email from the DA asking some of his lawyers to please attend a Zoom meeting in the next year. Getting impeached is way more serious than getting arrested, and he was impeached twice. His supporters didn't even blink. Story 6. Other than January 6th, when have you ever seen conservatives get violent and protest? And even that was so blown out of proportion it wasn't even funny. But if he is arrested, it will be a joke. But it does open the doors and set precedent. Just wait until Republican states start going after Hillary and Hunter and everyone else on the left that has committed far worse crimes and never been held accountable. Story 7. The left should have let him fade into obscurity. Yeah, we shouldn't hold anyone, especially the elite, accountable for their actions. That sounds smart. Keeping him in the political spotlight is growing his base. No, it's not. He didn't have enough support to win in the last election, by a long shot. And he isn't gaining support. DeSantis will most likely be the next conservative scumbag to get the nomination. Story 8. Get him off the public radar already. Fucking hell, Americans are dumb little sheep. Anyone famous or popular on social media and you are ready to riot, invest, elect, etc. Country full of fuckwits. He should be made an example of, same with his groupies. Bring some treason charges, make some of these rioters disappear to black sites, and move forward trying to regain internal stability and international respect. Story 9. His supporters will go nuts when he does his press conference where he slowly peels off his face mask to reveal that this entire time it's been Andy Kaufman, playing the longest, most elaborate political prank ever. Then, out of the crowd comes Sacha Baron Cohen, saying "You got me bad, bro," and hands Andy $100, having lost to the friendly bet for how long Andy could keep the ruse going. A man can dream. Story 10. The same way they always do to every tiny thing that upsets them, they'll yell and scream and call for all Dems to be rounded up. All their talking head grifters will go on a Save Trump donation tour and spend the money on hookers and blow, and then all the Trumpers will sit back in their armchair and continue to mindlessly watch Fox, because they are all mostly cowards with no real convictions worth actually fighting for. Story 11. A hardcore group of them, the very loony right, will try and burn something down/riot, or at least encourage it. The less loony will probably post all over social media about how the liberal left can suck a bag of dicks. The same Republicans, are there any left, will use it to pull further away from Trump. The scary thing is that some of those people still believe every single lie, and he has been proven to be, he tells. Story 12, literally heard my dad saying, he will never see the inside of a courtroom. They have nothing on him. He said he would drain the swamp, and meant it. Now they'll never give us, Republicans, the chance. And they're using this against Republicans. I don't follow politics, like at all. I literally don't even know what Trump was being charged or anything until now. But my dad has quite a few conspiracy theories about this stuff. Story 13, I'd tend to agree, if it weren't for the fact that Trump doesn't know how to fade into obscurity. He would have run for president again. He would be on talk shows. He would have his social media. He would do his campaign tour. Nothing about his personality allows him to be out of the spotlight, and then there is the point of accountability. Sometimes you have to keep the light on to shine it on issues that really matter. Story 14, it's all for show, just like the impeachments. It will likely have the opposite impact that the left is hoping it will. This is sort of like with Al Capone. They couldn't get him on murder, but they nailed him in tax evasion. With Trump, it's like, can we get him with the big charge? No? Okay, then how about this lesser charge that still has prison time? Still, no? Okay, let's nail him for jaywalking. Victory. Registered independent. Story 15, arrested for paying off a hooker that was blackmailing him while the hooker is rewarded and the crooked lawyer is being made into a hero? Constant witch hunts. It would probably lead to people distrusting the system even more than they probably do, and causing more divide. I don't want Trump nominated for president, but let's be real. This is not good optics. Other countries are going to see how corrupt and vindictive our system is. Story 16, his thugs will fulminate about how illegal it is to arrest him and how they'll take up arms, etc. But most of them are bullying cowards, and they'll do very little. Besides, Biden is commander-in-chief of the armed forces, so even if a percentage of the armed forces are Trump traitors, most will obey their oath, and if the Trump thugs try anything overt, they'll be dealt with fiercely. Covert terrorism is another possibility, of course. Story 17, I am in some Republican echo chambers. Main thing is do nothing, it's all a trap to fake another January 6th. That the Democrats will play up for the next election cycle. I did like the one to pull their funds and make a run on the banks, to also protest the California Democratic Dunn Bank bailout. Let them arrest him. Threw him in jail, draw and quarter him, go ahead and prove they are willing to turn the U.S. into a banana republic. Story 18, they'll stamp their feet, plan a truck rally to D.C., start saying a bunch of shit. And in the end, nothing will happen because they've all been exhausted by hate and lead down separate paths in these past 2 years. Is it Ukraine? Is it Biden? Hunter's laptop? Hillary again? George Soros? They don't know what to be angry at, so they've stuck their fingers in their ears and decided it's everything, which has left them more distracted than ever. Story 19, based on actual researches, they would revolt. Authoritarians like this are always very strict on the rules on people, but very forgiving for their leader. Given everything Trump did, and they still follow, nothing will make them change their mind. They'll double down, protest for his liberation, countless lawyers, paid by MAGA, will sue the government. Prison better be heavily armed, we saw what they did at the Capitol, I'm scared for America. Story 20, the Trump supporters I've met, there's only been 3 that talk about him to me like he's a hero, have serious tunnel vision when it comes to him. Nothing is ever his fault, he's being persecuted and he tells it like it is, so apparently that made him a good president. They don't want to open their eyes to the dirty, underhanded, nasty things he's said and done. It's really sad how devoted people are to a crybaby, loudmouth, braggart like him. Story 21. They're gullible and easily triggered, with a propensity for overreacting. However, they also hate taking responsibility for their own actions, and will go to extreme lengths to avoid doing so. They'll either go on every social media site they can find and cry like a bunch of wussies, or they'll riot and blame the damage on everyone else. Either way, they'll look like the useless, weak, knee-jerking assholes they desperately pretend not to be. Story 22. They'll whine on social media and wait for Fox to build them a counter-narrative they can run with. They'll blame wokeness and the usual targets. Then they'll claim exoneration when he's released on his own recognizance in a few days. The only interesting question is what DeSantis will do. If he muddies Trump's extradition from Florida, he could get in trouble with the feds. If he lets the Manhattan DA take him, then he risks the wrath of MAGA. Story 23. They'll whine on social media and wait for Fox to build them a counter-narrative they can run with. They'll blame wokeness and the usual targets. Then they'll claim exoneration when he's released on his own recognizance in a few days. The only interesting question is what DeSantis will do. If he muddies Trump's extradition from Florida, he could get in trouble with the feds. If he lets the Manhattan DA take him, then he risks the wrath of MAGA. Story 24. These people lack any shred of critical thinking, introspection, or concept of shame. Trump was elected by these classless rubes because he is a reflection of the Republican base. They'll act with the complete lack of dignity or self-awareness you'd expect at this point. Hopefully the federal government takes this growing domestic terrorist cult seriously this time and starts handing out harsher punishments than they did for the J6 insurrection. Please like, subscribe and press the notification bell, it really helps the channel out. Share your stories down below in the comments. Hope you enjoyed.